Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to discuss with you chapter 8 database, and this is the part 2 video. Already part 1 video I posted. Those who didn't watch that, please do watch. I will post the link in the description box. So today what are the topics to be discussed? The first one, transition from file system to DBMS and key concept in DBMS, and the third one, relational model, and fourth one, what are the key concept in relational model, and the fifth, three properties of a relation, and the last one, what is the meaning of keys and what are the types of keys are there in relational database. Now, the first topic is what is the transition? How the transition is happening from file system to DBMS. So, if you take the file system, what are the table we will be maintaining? So, last class also we had discussed about that. So, if you have a student table, in student table we will be having a roll number, student name, date of birth, and this is G name is nothing but the guardian name, and guardian phone and guardian address. And another table we can call it as a attendance, and you will be having the column here, date, roll number, and student name and the status. So if you see here, the student name and the student name here, no, both the names are repetition. Sometimes what it will happen, the student name sometimes will be the same name, right? There are in my class also, if you see, there are so many Tarun will be available, and no, there are some names, 4 to 5 names will be available, right? So for that reason it is repetition of the work. So to avoid that, what we can do, like roll number and roll number, already again you can see here, this both are also the same. So to avoid that, that roll number, it is a unique ID, right? Roll number always, everybody will have a unique value. So this we will be considering, and the yes name, no need to consider, right? So the repetition, one of the repetition, you can avoid it. So that it is possible in DBMS. So DBMS, how can I prepare the table? I'll tell you. For the student table, I have to mention roll number, yes name, and date of birth, and the G name, G phone, and guardian address. I'm planning to prepare the different table. What is the reason? I'll tell you. Sometimes what it will be happening in a class, there will be a siblings. The siblings, the no, the guardian will be the same members, right? So that time again the repetition is happening. So to avoid that, what you can do, you can prepare one guardian, the different table, and the guardian different table, the GUID. So you are going to create a ID for the guardian. The same ID you can utilize it in student table, so that by using the GUID you can link to the guardian table. Okay, so this is what I will be creating. The student table only I am just divided into two table. One is a student, another one is a guardian, and one more column I will be adding it, guardian ID. Okay, in guardian ID, guardian name, phone, and address. And again the next one is not address, the next one is what, attendance. So what is the attendance? The date, roll number, and state. So here I am avoiding yes name here. So this is what the transition, you can avoid the duplication, as well as what is the another one is repetition. Then the data will be, no, it is integrity also, you can maintain it because everything it is linking. Okay, so one of the other column, the unique column, will be linking to each table. So this is what the transition from file system to DBMS. And what are the key concepts in DBMS? The first one is database schema. What is the meaning of schema? Is it is a blueprint or the design of the database. So whenever you are preparing the table, for example, that structure of the table, which means what are the rows, no, or columns will be available, how many rows are you planning to do it. If you take the roll number, what type of data are you going to mention it? Always the roll number, either you can use what, the numbers, or the no character plus number. For example, if I'm giving the roll number as 101, it is also possible, or if I'm giving A101, it is also possible. So these are the possibility, right? So that is nothing but the structure. Okay, so it defines how the data is organized in terms of tables, field, data types, and the relationship between the table. Okay, it is also called the visual or logical architecture. So this is also important point. It will come in one marker also. So these are the point you have to mention. In example, in student database, what are the column it is available? That is nothing but the database schema. What is the next one? Data constraint. Constraint is nothing but the rules apply to the column. For example, if you prepare the table, here the roll number, as I told you, roll number you should have a unique value. So you can give the constraint as unique. I should not give duplicate value. Always every roll number will have a unique value, right? No two number will be same. So for example, one person roll number is 101 and another person number cannot be 101, right? But in case if the user is entering 101, this will not accept. So because you are giving the constraint here, constraint is nothing but rules apply to the column to ensure what is why we are giving the constraint, because to ensure the accuracy, validity and reliability of the data. So what are the constraint is available? I'm giving the two example, not null and unique constraint. Okay, so definitely these type of question, no, you will be doing it in SQL. So those who didn't watch SQL also, I have posted SQL practical, how what are the constraint, how can you give the constraint also, I have explained there. Okay, and the next one is metadata or data dictionary. What is the meaning of metadata? Metadata we already discussed in understanding the data, right? It is data about data, such as table structure, constraint. For example, if you take this call table, so this table is any of the column, do you have a constraint and what type of data type it is holding, all the information the metadata will provide. Okay, and it is stored in data dictionary or catalog. In the database it is stored in data dictionary or catalog. In student database, metadata validate roll number as a unique data entries. So with the help of metadata only, the database software will validate. Okay, what is the meaning of database instance? It is a snapshot of the database at a particular moment. For example, you are preparing the table here, right? But I am not mentioning any of the no value here. At present moment, you are entering the value, right? That is nothing but the instance. Initially, the column doesn't have any value, right? I started entering the row now. So it has started accepting the value, right? That moment, we will call it as an instance. The schema stays the same. What is the meaning of schema? It is a structure. Structure will remain same, but the data can vary over time. For example, first time I'm giving one data and next time I'm giving another data, right? But the structure, it will be the same only. Clear now? Next, example, after inserting student records, the current data is the instance. Next one is query. What is the meaning of query? It is a request to retrieve or manipulate data in a database. So for example, you are creating the data. If you want to get any value, in last class also we discussed, right? In employee table, I want to retrieve those who got salary greater than 70,000. So there is a command called select. By using that, you will be getting the data. Example here, and find the names of students present on January 1st 2000, right? If you want this one, from where, which table you will be getting? Attendance table. Clear? So this is nothing but the query. Next one is the data manipulation. What is the meaning of manipulation is? It refers to the operations such as inserting the data, deleting and updating the data. If you want to insert any new record, you can insert it, or you can delete any of the existing data, you can delete it, or updating means you can modify the data. Okay, adding a new student to the student database. This is an example of data manipulation. What is the meaning of database engine? So engine is nothing but it is a core software component of a DBMS that process queries and manage data storage, retrieval and manipulation. So whenever the query is executed, what it will happen? The database engine only will search from the table and it is getting the information. That is nothing but the database engine. So if I'm giving select star from student, which means I'm going to take all the details from the student table, what is actually it is doing? The database engine only will go and search where is the student table and which database it is there, then it is collecting the detail and you are getting the output. So that is the role of database engine. I hope everyone is clear with that concept. Okay. The next concept is limitation of DBMS. Even though we are having no, DBMS is a very good choice, but there will be a limitation. So what are the limitations? The first one is increased complexity, which means if you want to prepare the DBMS, you need skilled administrator and developers to manage their operation constraint and security rules. So all the operations we are doing, right? Constraint means what? Giving the rules to the particular column, and security also. So to whom you can giving the permission. So all this, there is some skilled administrator is required to develop the database management. And next one is what? Data vulnerability. What is that meaning? So always the DBMS is nothing but the centralized one, so everybody can access it, right? So the centralized data storage, in case if there is a problem with the system, hardware or software problem, then what it will happen, if you're not having any backup, then it leads to the failure. So that is called data vulnerability. Next one, high setup cost. So installing the DBMS software, you have to get a license also. There are some software will be free, but there are some software you have to get the license, and training staff also it is required. In case if it is a small institution also, you have to no spend more amount for that. And next one is a maintenance overhead. What is it meaning? After no installing everything, you have to do regular update also, and security patches also, it is important. That is nothing but the maintenance overhead. So these are the limitation of DBMS. Next concept is data model. What is it meaning? So if you take the database management system, there are different types also it is available. But what is the types and how it is, no, what are the types? How it will be vary? Obviously, you have to understand the data model. So data model only will decide what is the type of classification of DBMS. So data model is what? It describes the structure of the database, and it includes how data are defined and represented, relationship among the data and the constraints. So based on the three criteria only, the data model will decide the classification of the DBMS. So types of data model, if you take object oriented, entity relationship, and document model, hierarchy data model, and relational data model. So there are so many models are there, but now we are going to see relational data model because most of the time every many of them are using this relational data model only. So what is the meaning of relational data model is? It is most widely used data model in DBMS. So in this model, data, how the data is stored in, it is stored in the form of tables. In tables only we can call it as relations. So these are the important keyword, I'm highlighting it. So the table is nothing but the relations, and each table will consist of what? Rows and columns, right? And rows only we can call it as a records and tuples. There is another name of rows, records or tuples. These are the term you have to remember. So what is the meaning of rows? Each row stores one set of related data. For example, the student means the student name is Vinay. So the Vinay details only, the complete will be taking care. And what is the meaning of column? The another name is field or attribute. So each column has a specific data type and a unique name. So each column you have to give a unique name. For example, roll number, yes name, all this we can call it as a column, right? And it has a unique name, is it? And tables can be linked to each other using the common columns called key. So if you try to know each other, which means in the table, every row and column will be linked together called a key. And this help maintain relationship among data without repeating the information, as we discussed now, right? How to do the transition based on the unique value only. We are having the relationship among different tables with the help of this key. Okay. So if you take the relational data model, there are three tables I have created, right? A guardian, student, and the attendance. So here GUID, it is a unique value, right? The guardian ID must be having the unique value, and this link with the student table GUID. right? And here if you see, roll number also will have a unique value, GUID also will be unique value. So this table, it is linked with this Guardian table by using this GUID. Again, if you take the attendance also you will be having the roll number. Both are having the unique value and the same value, right? Both the value you can link it. Clear? So this is what you will be creating the relational data model. And what is the meaning of key concept of data model? So what are the key concepts? The first one is relation, which means a table. So table is nothing but the relation, as I told you. So table is what? It is a two-dimensional table with rows and columns, and each table stores data about one particular type of entity. What is the meaning of one particular type of entity? Mean in a student table, I can store only the student details. I can't include the guardian details or attendance, right? That is called one particular type of entity. What is the meaning of attribute? Attribute is nothing but the column in a table, and it defines the characteristics of field which data is stored, right? And tuple is nothing but what? Row in a table. It represents a single record with value for all the attributes. So only one record only in one row will be having it. And next one is a domain. What is the meaning of domain? Is it is a set of valid values an attribute can take. For example, in phone number. In phone number, only one value only you are supposed to take it, right? And whether the phone number, instead of, if you're giving any other value, it won't accept it. It is not the proper value, that will be checking it, right? That is called domain. And another good example is if you're creating the gender. So what are the gender value? It will accept male, female, or not to say anything, right? So these are the three values a particular column will take it, right? That is called a domain. Next is a degree. Degree is nothing but the degree of a relation. You see, number of attribute in a table. If you want to find out how many columns are there, that is nothing but degree. Next one is a cardinality. Cardinality is nothing but the number of rows in a table. Okay. Now, based on this concept, there are few questions I am going to ask you. This is a table. List all the attributes of the table. What is the meaning of attribute? Attributes are nothing but what? Column, right? So column, what are the columns are there? Roll number, S name, DOB, and GUID. So these are the column you have to mention. How many tuples are there in a table? Tuples means what? Row. So how many are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So 5 are there. And what is the degree of the relation? Degree means what I told you. Degree is nothing but number of columns. So how many are there? Roll number, S name, DOB, and GUID. All the name you have to mention. So there are 4. Define the domain of the attribute gender. So gender, in case if there is a gender here, as I told you, right? Male, then what? Female, and not to say. Next, what is the cardinality of the relation? What is the meaning of cardinality? Number of tuples. So what is the cardinality? 101, 102, 4, 3, 4, 5. So totally 5, and you have to mention all this. Clear now? Next one, there are 3 important properties of a relation. So what is the meaning of properties is? This is the core properties for the relation to ensure data consistency, integrity, and simplicity in how data is defined, accessed, and maintained. What is the first property is? The first property, each attribute, that is first property is what? Attribute rules. So in that, what they are saying, each attribute, which means the column in a relation, must have a unique name. So when I'm preparing the table, I should not have roll number as a both the column. That will not be the correct one. Okay, so you should have a unique name. And next one, the order of the attribute does not affect the relation. For example, here I'm mentioning roll number and the name. After that, I'm mentioning here GU guardian ID. Then next one is a date of birth. Doesn't matter. If you maintain any order, doesn't matter. Okay. Next one is tuple rules. The second rule is what? Second tuple rules. In tuple rules, what they are saying is, in a relation must be unique. So whatever the row you are giving, it must be unique. No two rows can have a identical values for all other columns. For example, if I'm giving the value here 101 Arjun, this 1246 and G01, I should not again give 101 Arjun The same value two times if I'm repeating, that is not correct. That is called the tuple rules. And the order of the tuples in the table also not important. So if I'm giving here 105, I'm giving it here. 101, I'm giving it here. All the details, I'm shifted to the first one. That doesn't matter at all. Okay, that is the second rule. Next one, state of relation. That will be the third rule. What is the property is all values in an attribute must belong to the same domain, which means the data type. What is it meaning? So if for example in roll number you have to accept only the integer, right? And it is belong to the student details only. It should not belong to some other details, right? That is called, they have mentioned, attribute must belong to the same domain. Each value must be atomic, meaning it cannot be further divided into meaningful parts. For example, if you have a column called phone number, the phone number, it will accept only one number. You should not give comma and another number. Two values it should not accept. And another example I'm telling, if you create an address column, you have to give the address completely. Again, you are giving comma, no, the pin code or everything different. No, if you are mentioning, that is not accepting. Only one value will be accepted. Next one, multiple values are not allowed in a single cell. As I told you now, phone number should accept only one number. A special value called null is used when the data is unknown or not applicable. For example, if you don't know the phone number of any particular person, then when you're entering the data, that time if you don't know, it is fine. You can give the null value. It will accept it. I hope everyone is clear with all the three no properties. Okay, the next one is a key concept. Very important concept. So what is the meaning of keys is nothing but in a relationship database, it is essential that every tuple or a row in a relation must be unique. To achieve this, certain attributes or combination of attributes are used to identify each tuple uniquely. So whenever you are creating the, no, as I told you, right, whenever you're creating the roll number, if you see here the table, which is the columns are unique value, obviously the roll number. And student name, if you take, sometimes you may get the same name, right? Same initial also it is possible. So you can't accept this s number as a unique value. What about the date of birth? It is possible, right? So that also it is not accepting. But what about GUID? It must be having the unique value. So you have to identify, because that unique value only you are creating the no relation with the another table. That's what we had created 3 1, right? So GUID will be the unique ID, your relation with the uh, guardian table. And again the roll number is a unique value, you are creating the relation with the attendance table. So that is nothing but the key. So what are the types of keys are available? The first one we can call it as a candidate key. So what is the meaning of candidate key? Yes, it is an attribute or set of attribute. So it may be one, more than one candidate key is also available, and from that only you are going to create a primary key. I will tell you very simple way of no remembering this. We can take this table. So whenever you are creating the table, the first one you are going to identify what? Candidate key. Okay, so what is the meaning of candidate key? Is in this table, what are the unique values column you are going to identify? As we discuss now, what are the unique value? Roll number and GUID. Definitely this both should have a unique value. So this both we can call it as what? Candidate key. Understood now? So you will be having two candidate key here. So from this candidate key only you are going to identify what? Primary key. So what is a primary key? Primary key, again you should have a unique value, right? But here according to the table, I accept this one as a roll number as a primary value. So it is depends on the user how they want to take it as a primary key. So according to this, this is a student table. So I want to take the roll number as a primary key. So what you have done, first in the table you have identified what are the unique columns, right? So from that unique columns you are going to identify one primary key. right here, roll number. So what about this then? This is becomes the alternate key. So whatever the primary key you have chosen, the another one becomes a alternate key. Okay, and next one we can call it as a foreign key. So foreign key, always remember, you should have two table. So foreign key, you should have a two table. For example, here GUID. So GUID in the Guardian table, if I'm going to the Guardian table, so in the Guardian table, what will be the unique ID you can consider? GUID will be having a unique value. G name, it is not possible. G phone also, it is not possible. G address also, it is not possible. Why? Because if it is a sibling, all three will be the same, right? So GUID will be the unique value. So I can consider this only as a primary key. So the primary key, if you're using of another table, it becomes the foreign key of the student table. Clear? The primary key of the another table, if you're using the column here in student table, this is the foreign key of the student table. Okay, so that is nothing but the foreign key. So foreign key, you need what? Two table. And next one, that's what it has mentioned here. So first one we discuss candidate key. It is an attribute or set of attributes. There can be more than one candidate key in a relation, and each one is potential choice for becoming what? Primary key. Now, what is a primary key? Out of the available candidate key, one key you have chosen as a primary key, as I told you, right? So we had what? GUID also roll number. So I have chosen what? Roll number. This is a main identifier for each tuple in a relation. The rest of the candidate key become what? Alternate key. So the GUID also, it becomes what? Alternate key. And what is a composite key? Composite key is a single attribute. It is not sufficient to uniquely identify a tuple. In such case, two or more attributes are combined to form a composite key. For example, in case if you don't find any of the unique value, then what you can do? You can combine both the column to create a composite key. That has become a composite key. If in your table you don't have any unique value at all, so that time two column you will be considering and prepare a composite key. Next one is a foreign key. As I told you, it is an attribute in one table that refers to the primary key of another table. It is used to link to two table and represent relationship between them. Clear now? So I hope everybody is clear with the concept. So there are no, you should not get confused. So no, they just go through the video, and if you're having any doubt, please post your question in the comment section. I will reply to your answer. So important keyword also I have mentioned already. So no, go through that. So any doubt if you have. Okay, so this chapter is over here. So if you have any question, please post your question in a comment section. I will reply to your answer. And the important keyword also I have mentioned. So thank you so much. So if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please subscribe and stay updated with my upcoming classes. Please like, comment and share among with your friends.